Hey beautiful, and welcome back. If you are new here, I'm so glad you stopped in. Today we're going to go through my very recent Ipsy Glam Bag X for the month of August. I unboxed it here on the channel, and now today we're going to try all of the products that I got out together. We're going to create this look that I have right here. Almost every single thing that is on my face right now is from this box, but we're going to go through it all, try everything out, see how everything works. And if that is something that you're interested in, I hope that you will stay tuned because it's coming right at you. If you're returning here on the channel, thank you so much for your continued support. You guys, this is going to be like we have a whole face of products to try. So grab a drink, grab a snack, your cozy socks, your pet, whatever it is that's going to settle you in for a minute, and let's hang out. Alright guys, so with the intro out of the way, we're just going to jump right into everything. Looking at the products in front of me, I'm kind of trying to figure out in my mind in order to go. So I'm definitely going to start out with the skincare products. Just like I normally would, I want to give those a chance to really soak in before moving on with any face product. So the first product that I'm going to try, so the first product that I'm going to try is we're going to go into my under eye area with this Tula Skincare 24/7 Power Swipe Hydrating Day and Night Treatment Eye Balm. I am not new to the Tula Skincare eye balms, but this particular one in the line I have not yet tried. I do really like the packaging on this. Again, like I said in the unboxing, I don't know if my camera will pick it up, but it's like a very pearly iridescent white, which I think is really pretty. And the way that I like to apply these is literally just go right in with it. I'm just going to put some on. I know that the one in the pink container has kind of like a cooling effect, not so much the orange one, and I'm really not noticing any type of cooling effect with this, but as long as it gives me some hydration to the under eye area, I will be happy with that. So this feels very emollient. I'll be interested to see. I like to also just kind of take my fingers and bring it up onto the lid, out on the outer edge. I am definitely on the dry side as far as skin type, so I really like to make sure that my skin is nice and hydrated before makeup, because that does make a huge difference in how the makeup is going to apply, how it's going to look, and how it's going to wear on my skin. So yeah, that actually seems very hydrating. I feel like it gave me like a nice glow to the under eye area as well. So far so good with that. I've always got really high hopes for Tula products. The only thing that I've tried from the brand that just isn't something that I find myself reaching for is the orange one, which is supposed to be like a color correcting under eye product. And I just don't find that it does much for me. So yeah. Okay, next we're gonna go in with what I'm gonna use for moisture on my face. It's going to be this Keys Soul Care Transformation Cream. I really don't know if this is the type of product that I would normally use for underneath makeup application. Typically I like to use things that are a little bit lighter. Even though I'm dry, I like to I really like kind of like gel creams and that kind of thing, things that are going to that are going to give me hydration but not leave any greasiness behind for my makeup to slip around on. But we're going to just go ahead and try it anyhow. I'm very excited to try the product. I'm literally just taking some off of what is on the protective seal here, and I'm just going to take some with my finger and apply it all over the face. And then we're going to kind of pat that in how I see Charlotte Tilbury using creams on people. Just kind of like very lightly spread it and then just kind of tap it in with my fingers as I go. I definitely feel like I got more on this side than on this side. Very, very light scent to this. Definitely not anything overpowering. So if you are somebody that does not like any type of fragrance in your skincare, this might be a good one to check out. I also really thought that it was going to be a lot thicker feeling on the skin. It's actually very thin feeling, and it also feels almost immediately like it is absorbing into my skin. So that I like. Of course, that is just kind of like a first impression, and especially when it comes to skincare, you really need some time to figure out if it's something that works for you, if it's something that your skin is going to agree with, and if it's something that's actually going to do anything for your skin in a good way. So, or in a bad way. We just need time with skincare. But first impressions is, I think it's really nice, and I'm not surprised. I am really intrigued by this brand and really excited to be experimenting with more products from the line. Okay, so we are definitely going to go in for an eye look. I have the Baby One eyeshadow palette from Lawless Beauty, and then I also have a Bobbi Brown cream shadow stick. This is in, I think, rose gold or rosy gold, golden pink. I knew it was something. And then a very kind of like neutral toned eyeshadow palette. We are going to find a way to incorporate both. I also have a brow product, so I'm kind of trying to figure out how to start this. I think I'm just going to take a touch of my Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas eyeshadow primer, and a little goes a long way with this, literally taking the smallest amount for both eyes. It really spreads well. You don't need, look, did you guys see, like, it was literally the tiniest dot for both eyes. And I'm not really doing this right now for any type of longevity to the shadows that I'm going to apply, but more or less just for, like the name of the product says, a clean canvas to work on. I do have veins that show through and discoloration on my eyelid, so I just want a nice, clean, even base to start from, and this is a really good product to do that. It also has, it also does really well with fine lines around the eye area. So it's definitely one of my faves. I haven't used it in a long time. I used to use it on a daily basis, but being in the hotel all summer long due to the fire, this just isn't a product that I had with me. So I could have came and gotten it, but like if I was doing my makeup, like I was just keeping things easy, and I really wasn't too concerned about all of the things, if you know what I mean. But it's really good to be back, and it's really good to be like just getting into things. Okay, so I'm kind of deciding on, I am going to kind of set that primer. So I was thinking I would use a shade in the palette, and actually maybe I will. I'm gonna take, I'm just going to take kind of a fluffier brush like this. I'm going to make sure that I've got no product on it. And I'm just going to take a very small amount of this satin finish shade in the palette. And I'm just going to kind of very lightly swipe it all over. And it's very, very, very sheen. It's like a true satin finish. So typically I would use a matte shade for this, but you definitely can get away with using a shade like this if it's like a true satin and it's not like a super pigmented metallic, which actually, I mean, I'm sure you could do, depending on what kind of look you were going for, you could really do whatever the hell you wanted. But as far as like a shade to kind of set things down, I definitely would typically go with a matte, but we're just going to run with this and see how it goes. I mean, I think that that we're good with that for now, so we'll roll with it. Let me pull my brushes over here, so I'm not constantly searching. I'm gonna grab a fluffy brush, and I'm gonna go into, part of me wants to go into this just by habit, but then part of me is like, let's go like mauve, pink, whatever, purple. I don't know what this shade really is, like a mauvey, pinky, purpley tone. That's the one I went into. I'm just gonna begin to bring it right over where my natural crease would be. Now I do have hooded eyes, so a trick that I like to use is, even though I am bringing it in the crease, I'm also bringing it above, because I want to be able to see that color. This is actually just gliding on very, very nicely. So I was like, kind of like a little, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was actually really excited for this palette because I don't have any Lawless Beauty eyeshadow in my collection, but it's kind of just like one of those palettes that, how do I word this? It's not like super inspiring when you look at it, right? It's just kind of like a lot of other palettes that I already have, but I can tell you that I'm really enjoying the way that this formula blends out so far. I mean, I think it's an easy, beautiful blend. So we've got some transition laid down. I'm gonna switch brushes to something a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna go into this one right here. We're gonna take, oops, I just picked up the wrong shade. Let me use my shadow switch. Okay, so it's gonna be this one right here, and I accidentally dipped into the redder toned, but we're just gonna pick some of that up. Now this brush that I'm using is a little bit more dense, so it's gonna apply the shadows a little bit more pigmented than something more fluffy. So keeping that in mind, I'm going in light-handed, and just to, you know, see how the pigment is going to be before I go ham, and just kind of blend it out. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna wanna build that up a bit. I'm gonna go in again, and don't be afraid to take your time and build up on areas where you want dimension. It's always better to take your time and build that tone up than it's gonna be to try and get as dark as you want in one pop. It's gonna look patchy. It's gonna be really hard to blend out, and it's just always better to take your time with the darker colors. But that is actually building up. It's building up very nicely. This shadow is actually really nice, you guys. I'm actually impressed. Like, there is not the slightest bit of patchiness going on. Of course, I'll always clean up the outer edge, you know, once the eye look is complete. So I'm not really worried about making things perfect on the side right there. But just in terms of pigmentation, it's looking really nice. And it's actually intriguing me in, you know, wanting to, you know, try more shadows of theirs. I am going to deepen things up just a little bit further. I'm going to go in with this shade here, just kind of just playing around here with what I've got, and I'm going to just kind of buff this in the very outer V. Blending it out and outwards. Okay. So that is actually really nice, you guys. We're gonna do this metallic on the lid. I'm gonna start with a brush and see how it applies with a wet brush with some setting spray, and if I need to, I can always go in with my finger, but I'm always curious just to kind of try and see how it'll go. Definitely, in my experience, the best way to get your bang for your buck with your shimmers is just simply with your finger, but I like to try different things out. So I'm gonna grab Okay, this is what I've got nearby right now. This is the Maven Beauty Rose Water Setting Spray. And I'm just going to give my brush a little squirt, nothing crazy. And I'm going to pick up this metallic tone. Now, like I've mentioned in the beginning of, you know, trying this palette, the shade above it is a shimmer, but it's a lot less metallic looking. It's definitely more satin and less metallic, whereas this seems to be more metallic. And I'm going to start the application of this. Definitely getting a little bit of fallout here, so I'm glad I waited for any face makeup, but that is, you know, the purpose of why I do my makeup in this order, so that's okay, and I'm not surprised. It happens. That's actually applying, you know, really nice with a brush. I'm not unimpressed. There's definitely some fallout, but that's okay. This is actually going on really nicely. Do you guys see that? Okay. Now I'm gonna take, I've got so many brushes in front of me, I should have like narrowed down what I was gonna need. Now I'm gonna take kind of like a pointed brush. I'm also gonna give that just a spritz, and I'm gonna go in. There is a little bit of kick up with that metallic for sure. I'm gonna go in with that satin shade with the wet pointed brush. And I'm going to first bring it under the brow. I probably should have done my brows first in retrospect, but that's okay. Not a big deal. But I'm just adding a touch of that under the brow bone. I like to apply it and then kind of push it with my finger a little bit. It just kind of lightens it up and makes it a little bit softer. I'm also going to use the shadow on the lower lash line, and I'm going to use that satin shade on the inner corner. But before I do that, I'll want to do my concealer, because if I'm going to place concealer there, it's just going to cover it up. So what we're going to do is catch up the other eye, and I'll be right back to try the rest of the products out with you. Okay, so we're back, and I know I'm looking a little crazy. I did not have a new concealer to use for the video, and I wanted to just go ahead and move past the eyes because there are so many products in this video to try. So I just went in with a combo that I've been loving lately, and it's the Tarte Shape Tape Glow Wand along with the Tarte Hydro C Concealer. And I've really been loving the combo of that lately, and so I just went ahead and did that so that I could finish the eyes. But of course we still have our foundation to try, and I don't typically go in that order, and because I still have cream products to apply to my face, I didn't set the under eye areas, so I'm a little nervous about how all this is gonna work out, but we're just gonna go for it. But yeah, I did add the satin lightest shade in the palette to the inner corner, and then I also used this shade right here under the lash line. I cannot tell you, I cannot remember the last time that I used an actual eyeliner on like the under eye area, unless I was doing like a pop of color, or not that, this is what I meant to grab, like a pop of color in the waterline or something maybe. But as far as a dark liner on like an actual liner on the lower lash line, I have been extremely into just using a dark shade from whatever palette I'm using. I feel like it really like if you're like 30 or over and you're looking to keep things looking youthful, using a powder under the lash line really brings the whole eye look together, and it just does something to soften it rather than using like a black kohl liner like I used to. Anyhow, just thought I'd mention that, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. You guys, I just realized I forgot to use the Bobbi Brown shadow stick. I was gonna use this, I was gonna do like my crease makeup and then use this as a base to apply the shimmer on, and I totally forgot. So we will set this aside and try it in another video. Maybe we'll use that when I review my Ipsy Glam Bag, because there's an eyeshadow palette in there too, and I could do the same type of idea. So I'm gonna throw this right in that bag. We're gonna do a video on that coming up, and that's what we'll do for that. But we're gonna try this Nude Sticks Tinted Cover Foundation. I am a little bit nervous about the shade. It looks a little yellow for me and possibly a little bit too dark, but we're just gonna go for it. Oh, hello, the Dominique Cosmetics Hydrating Serum Primer, the whole reason that I have this foundation. So this was like a 2-for deal as an add-on for my Glam Bag X. I wanted to try the primer, really wasn't super interested in the Nude Sticks. Like, I'm definitely always down to try a new complexion product, but I've got my go-to, my absolute favorite, the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation. I don't think that there's ever going to be a foundation that can replace that, but I'm always down to try something new. But the reason that I have this and I didn't get to choose a shade is because it came with this primer that I have been dying to try. I love Dominique Cosmetics. Can't tell you one thing that I've tried from the line that I don't absolutely adore. Love primers, dry skin. This is supposed to be hydrating and blurring. So I am excited to try it. I am priming her. Okay, so we'll start with this. This is the consistency on it. You guys, I have been dying to try this primer. It was in BoxyCharm not too long ago. I know Rhonda over at Hot Mess Mama, and I heard several people talk about how much they loved this primer. And I know this feels so bizarre for me because I already have my concealer on. Definitely something different, but we're just gonna roll with it. So this does feel super hydrating. You guys know I'm always gonna keep it real. I love Dominique Cosmetics and I'm super excited to try this, but I don't know about blurring. Like, I still see 100% of my texture that was there before I applied it, but it does feel extremely hydrating, which I like. And in any event, if it's a nice hydrating primer, I can always use a little bit of something that I know that does blur me out and then use this primer to hydrate, because it's very typical for me to go in with 2 primers because I am dry, but I'm also textured. So I feel like a lot of times texture and big pores go along with oily skin, but for me, I have both of them. I'm just blessed, I guess, with big pores, textured skin, and dry as hell. So typically I'll use something to smooth my complexion and to hydrate my complexion. So we'll definitely continue to use that, and maybe it will look blurring with the foundation. Again, we're gonna go in with this Nude Sticks, and again, I am worried about the shade match. Definitely worried about the shade match, but we're gonna go with it. I'm gonna start with my finger. Oh yeah, definitely not my shade. Definitely not my shade. It's too dark. If anything, when it comes to, I mean, it's not like something that is like outlandish or anything, but it's too dark for me. I can always bring it down my neck a little bit, and of course, we're gonna go in with a dampened beauty sponge and press it into the complexion. Keep in mind, I typically do like to let my primer set in a little bit longer than what I just did, but actually it's not looking as bad as I thought it was going to. And actually that primer has done, like, typically I would be able to see every pore in this area, and kind of like in this area is like textured, but it actually looks really nice. Like, even in my mirror, not just like on the camera, like in my mirror, this looks nice. And I'm actually really surprised about the color match. Like, it's not a perfect match. It's definitely not going to be a winter tone for me, but while I have some sort of tan going on, it's not awful, and I do really like the way that it's sitting on my skin for first impressions. Of course, you know, that could change 20 minutes down the road. I don't know. But right now, I'm not hating it. And that is definitely different for me to apply the foundation after the concealer, but we do what we gotta do sometimes just to kind of keep the video rolling. It's looking very glowy. Another thing that I had realized when I was finishing my eye makeup is that I also had the Glow Recipe Watermelon Niacinamide Glow Drops as part of my package, and I have one that's open right here. I was going to use it, but I'm almost kind of glad that I forgot because I feel like I'm looking glowy enough. So there's that. And do I have any wet wipes? I'm not seeing any, so I'm gonna grab some paper towel just to wipe the foundation off of my fingers. I have found, you guys, I have went round and round and round and round with different ways to apply my foundation. Brush, sponge, fingers, combination. And I have found that for me, the best way to apply most of my complexion products is to really just kind of work it into my skin with my fingers at first, and then to go in and press it in with a damp sponge. And that is how, for me and my skin type, I get the most skin-like, flawless, non-makeup-y application, which is, for me, what I'm looking for. Like, I want an airbrushed look, but I don't want to necessarily look like I have a ton of foundation and all of that on either. So, okay, I was really excited to try this. This is the Danessa Myricks Dewy Cheek and Lip Palette. My first time trying anything from the brand, so really exciting there. Love cream products, and I'm kind of trying to decide with the eye look that I have going on, this would probably match best, but something about me wants to try that hot pink. Maybe we'll mix the two. Let me think about this. All right, I'm gonna grab a brush here, and I think we'll mix them. I think I'll use the more neutral tone that kind of goes with the eye look towards the back, and then maybe just the slightest amount of that hot pink towards the front. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some product onto the brush. And I have no idea how pigmented it is, so before I mess everything up, I'm just going to kind of tap it on my hand and have a look at what we're working with. And then I'll take, and I don't have any contour or bronzer on right now. I didn't have any in this box to try. That is really pretty, you guys. Wow. It's a cream product, but it almost has like a semi-matte finish on the skin. That is beautiful. Now, keep in mind the way you apply your blush. If you want like a full apple cheek look, you're gonna focus most of the pigment on the apple of your cheeks. If you want a lifted look, you wanna focus it on this outer edge to lift everything up. If you want to do a little bit of both, because you're a blush addict like your girl here, then you do a little bit of both. But I'm gonna focus most of the pigment on this outer area because I want a very lifted effect. You guys, that is stunning. That is really pretty. I was hoping I would love it, but I love it, you guys. It is so pretty. Okay, I do want to just very lightly, let me find another brush. I'm gonna find a brush that doesn't pick up too much pigment. This is actually a Sigma, and it's kind of like tapered where like the bulk of the thickness stops where the black does. So the top part is kind of more, it's not gonna pick up as much product. And I'm going to very lightly dip into this hot pink. And again, I'm gonna use the back of my hand just as kind of like a tester, test the waters type of thing. Okay, so it doesn't look like it. Okay, there we go. Just want to make sure that I have enough, but not too much as well. And I'm just literally going to do the smallest. Okay, yeah, see, it's very easy to go overboard with blush, but you guys, blush is just so pretty. Like, I can't help it. I'm gonna bring just a touch over the bridge of my nose and just a touch on the tip of my chin as well. Okay, I think that is really pretty. I do need to kind of like go in and set under my eyes. Things are starting to look crazy under there because I put the concealer on. I put the glowy tart shape glow on under there. So I've got a little bit too much glow going on and I need to settle that down. I also forgot to put mascara on. So I'm gonna catch things up and then we're gonna come back, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty nervous to try it, but we're gonna go for the LYS Liquid Highlight. I'll be right back. Okay, I feel a lot better. It was looking a little wild under there. We needed to set. I used my all-time favorite setting powder at this point for dry, slightly maturing skin. The By Terry Hyaluronic Hydro Setting Powder is amazing. And I just set in between my brows where I kind of have the deepest set lines in my face. And then under the eye area, and I'm feeling better. It's looking good. Okay, and then I went ahead and applied one coat of, you know me, the Bite Beauty Upswing Mascara. There's just nothing that can beat this for me. I have been really enjoying the, what is it? Is it Patrick Ta Major Volume Mascara that we got in BoxyCharm not too long ago. Been loving this one, but it's a close second, let's put it that way. And then, of course, I forgot, we have the Uma Beauty Brow Fro. Mine is in the shade 02. Let's hope this goes well. So I'm gonna pull a mirror up a little bit closer here. I do really like that it's a nice fine tip that we're working with. And then we got a spoolie on the other side. This doesn't really look like a blonde shade. It looks more taupe, and I typically prefer blonde shades for my brows, but we're just going to begin to do small hair-like strokes to kind of fill in the sparseness that I have and really focus it on, you know, the outer part. I have learned while playing with several brow products, mostly like in the last year or so is when I have really gotten into brow products, is using the bulk of it on the outer part and very sparsely up front is what's going to give you that kind of gradient look. Placing too much product in the front of the brow is going to give you a very blocky look. Okay, I am loving this actually. It's not too dark and it's very natural looking, but yet it's doing the job. It is filling me in, and I need to do a good pluck job right now as well. I know you probably can't tell that from the camera because my hairs are so light naturally, but I really do need to get in there with some tweezers. But that looks really good, very easy to use. Let's check out the spoolie side and just kind of, okay, the spoolie I'm not loving. It's very rough on the skin. I don't like this spoolie. I would definitely use the brow product, but I would pull for a spoolie from something else. I don't like the, it's very rough feeling, like it's I don't know, it feels way too coarse for my skin. So I didn't love the spoolie, but that's okay as long as the product itself is working. You know, I've got a million spoolies that I could grab for. Okay, I really like this product. This is the thing about it for like brows for me is like, part of me is still stuck, you guys. I'm 37, okay? So part of me is still stuck in that era of like thin brows because like that was what the thing was when I got into makeup. And I know that it no longer is. We're into this like laminated big brow look, which you guys, I never thought that I would fall into this trend. But I have. I do like a fuller brow on me now, but it's gotta look natural. Like it can't be looking like a freaking caterpillar on my damn forehead. Like I'm just not, it's not for me. So I need something that's going to be very natural looking while filling me in, and this has done a really good job. I'm actually really impressed with this. Don't like the spoolie, but the product is nice. Now, anytime I go in with a brow pencil, I will follow that up with one of two things. Almost always it's going to be the Anastasia Beverly Hills Tinted Brow Gel in Blonde, but more recently I've actually really been loving this Kosas Air Brow product, and I believe this too is also in blonde or maybe golden blonde. Anyhow, I'm going to use the Anastasia today. I've been using the Kosas more recently, and I'm just kind of feeling like going in with this. And this is just going to kind of, one thing that it does for me is like if the brow pencil that I went in with was just a touch too dark, this just kind of helps to make my brow hairs, even the ones that I just created with the pencil, kind of like match my blonde hair. I know it's hard to see in the camera right now, but I do bleach my hair blonde. And when my roots come in, when I'm doing videos, I notice it looks a whole lot darker on screen than like it actually is. Like in person, I look blonde, but on camera, you can see my dark roots coming in and the dark color takes over the blonde, I feel. But anyhow, so doing this will just kind of set the brow look in for me, make it last, and also make it match better, I feel like. Okay, but I actually really liked that brow product. I really did. That is something that I will definitely continue to reach for, and I could see myself, like, I mean, when we're talking first impressions, this is something that I could see myself repurchasing when mine is done, if that makes sense. Okay. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous about this. I'm looking glowy as hell already. I really, like, if I was doing my makeup to go somewhere, if I had this type of, because I went a little overboard with the blush. I know it. I know I did, but I love blushes, and I actually, like, I don't mind the way that it looks, especially in real life. But there's like almost like a natural highlight to it. So I would not add a highlight to this look. But for the sake of the video, we're going to go ahead and try this LYS Beauty Aim High Multi-Use Highlighter. Mine is in the shade Brave Champagne. And we're just going to, okay, so it does have a protective seal on it, which I appreciate. I'm going to snap that right off, and we're going to go light-handed. So I'm going to take some on the back of my hand here so that I can really control the amount that oh, I just squirted half the bottle out, you guys. Holy shit. Okay, definitely didn't mean to do that. Okay. So I've got literally like a ton. How do I want to do this? Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip of a sponge. I'm going to dip it in there and then just kind of like roll the excess out. And then I'm going to go in with it, and we're going to see how this goes. Definitely be careful with, okay, actually is looking kind of natural for like a liquid highlight. I mean, I've had some pretty horrid experience with different ones. So the fact that this is like kind of, it's not like on first impression, it's not like super accentuating of any texture that I have right there, and it's also like not looking like I painted it on. That's my thing with like liquid highlights, is it looks like I took a paintbrush and like painted some foiled pigment on my face, which your girl is not for that. But that actually looks really pretty. It's sitting on the skin very nicely. In my opinion, this could be a really nice liquid highlight. I'm also going to add just a touch to like the ball of my nose. And I'm also going to add a little bit to the Cupid's bow. just pressing it in with my sponge. Very natural looking. I have a ton on there. I'm gonna go ahead and take the paper towel that I had earlier and just wipe the back of my hand because yikes, your girl messed that one up. But okay, so that's actually really pretty, and the only thing that I have left is to add a little bit of color to my lips. It does say this is marketed as a lip and cheek palette, this Dinessa Myrix blush palette that we use, and I'm gonna go ahead and add some of this to my lips and call it a day. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and use this shade right here. I'm just gonna use my finger, pick it up, and just add a wash of color to the lips. It's actually really pretty for a lip color. Definitely could do like a whole thing, an ombre lip, throw some liner on there, but it's getting late and I'm literally just going to be washing this off, so I think this is pretty good. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me, try these products out. Like, in all actuality, I don't think there was one product that didn't work okay for me. So this was a really good Ipsy Glam Bag X. I knew it would be. Thank you, Miss Alicia Keys. I can't wait to try more of your line. And thank you so much for hanging out with me and trying these products. Tomorrow I'm going to be filming the glam bag. We'll use the Bobbi Brown product and all of the other products that I got in my regular glam bag. But until then, guys, stay safe, stay beautiful, and I will see you very, very soon in my next one. Bye.